Operators, a special character or a word in programming that identifies an action to be performed. So what are the operators? They are a special character or word in programming that identifies an action to be performed. Arithmetic operations. They are operators that are used to perform calculations. So arithmetic perform calculations. What are logical operators? They are operators that allow the computer to decide whether an expression is true or false. Boolean operators. They are operators that are used with logical operators to form a more complex expression. Define an integer, which is a program data type. It's a positive or negative whole number that can be used in mathematical operations. For example, 150 or negative 150. But it has to be a whole number. Define the program data type real. Real is a positive or negative number that has a fractional part that can be used in mathematical operations. For example, 150.5 or negative 150.5. So it has to have a fractional part. It could be also 150.0. Define the program data type char, which stands for a character. It is a single character from the keyboard. It can be any character. String is a sequence of characters. For example, ch12. Boolean is a data with two possible values. Could be true or false, or yes and no. Sequential statements. They are statements that are executed one after another according to their order. Assignment statement. They are a statement that changes the value of a variable or an element in an array. For example, this value is a variable and we changed it to store in it 39. So it says the value of the variable to 39. Prompt message. It's an output message that is displayed before the user input stating the input required. It helps the user to know what they are expected to input. For example, you can write output, enter your name, and then input name. So the user could know that he's supposed to input the name. Conditional or selection statements. Selective statements are executed depending on meeting certain criteria. It allows different paths through a program depending on the meeting a certain criteria. If, then, else, and if. There's a minor spelling mistake here. It's supposed to be an I. So in the if statement, what's the definition and the purpose? It's a conditional structure with different outcomes for true or false. It allows for checking complex conditions. Case of, otherwise, and case. It's a conditional structure that allows selection to be made based on a value of a variable used to test for a large number of discrete values. Iterative repetition statements. One or more statements are repeated till a test condition is met, or whilst a test condition is true. To repeat same or similar code a number of times, which allows for shorter code. What are the types of iterative statements? We have a count control loop, which is the for loop, precondition loop, which is the while loop, and the post condition loop, which is the repeat loop. For to next. The count controlled loop. It's a loop structure that iterates a set number of times. It is used when a set number of iterations are required. While, do, and while. It's a precondition loop. A loop that iterates whilst a specified condition exists. The criteria is pre-tested and it iterates at least once. Repeat until. The post-condition loop. It's a loop that iterates until a condition is met. Criteria is post-tested and it iterates at least once. What's the difference between repeat until and while loop? In the while loop, the criteria is pre-tested, while in the repeat until, criteria is post-tested. In while, the code may never run, but in repeat, the code runs at least once. The while iterates whilst the condition is true, but repeat until iterates till a condition is true. Totaling. Simply, it's the process of summing a list of numbers. Counting is the process of finding how many items are in a list. What's an array? Array is a data structure that holds a number of elements of the same data type. And what could be its purpose? It stores multiple values under the same identifier, making the code shorter. It allows for simpler programming. It makes the program easier to design, code, test, and understand. The code will be more compact and more organized, so less likely to make errors. Index definition. Index is the position of an element in an array. Dimension is the number of indexes required to access an element in an array. One-dimensional array. It's a list of items of the same data type stored under a single name with a single index to identify each element. How do we declare the 1D array? We declare, then we put the name of the variable, and write from 1 to the number of columns we have. Then we put the data type, for example, integer. The two-dimensional array, it's a table-like collection of items of the same data type. It has rows and columns and stored under a single name with 2 indexes to identify each element. How do we declare the 2D array? We declare, then write the variable name, then the number of rows, for example 1 to 10, the number of columns, for example 1 2 3, like the one written here. But if we're gonna take the example of this table, it's gonna be declare numbers 1 2 3, then 1 2 4, and the data type integer. So we first start by rows, then columns. Linear search. It's the process of finding a value within a list of elements. What are the steps of linear search? Loop over a list of items, starting with the first element and finishing with the last. We compare each element with a search value. If it's equal to the search value, then we set a flag to true. If the element is not equal to the search value, then move to the next element. After iterating over all the elements, the flag shows whether the element is found or not. Bubble sort. It's the process of sorting a list of items either in alphabetical order or using numeric values. What's the steps of bubble sort? It loops over a list of items, starting with the first and finishing with the next to last element. Each element is compared with the next element. Swaps the elements if the elements are in the wrong order. After reaching the last element, it will be now in the correct position. This is repeated a number of times equivalent to the number of elements in the list to ensure that all elements are in the correct position. That's it for today. I hope it was really beneficial for you. See you later. Bye bye.